Hi, my name is John Choi, and I'll be giving a presentation on post-traumatic stress disorder and its effect on our brain. Before I get into the research, here's a brief introduction to this topic. Post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, is a disorder people can develop after experiencing or witnessing a terrifying, shocking, or scary event. This topic addresses the broad topic area of psychological disorders, and I am personally interested in this topic because my family friend who served in the Marine Corps was unfortunately diagnosed with PTSD. Alright, so let's get into the results of the research. In traumatic stress effects on the brain, the author J. Bremer states that the amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex are the most implicated and affected brain regions by PTSD. He also states that there are lasting changes in these brain regions such as long-term dysregulation of norepinephrine and cortisol systems. The norepinephrine and cortisol are the hormones released when we are stressed. In decreased gray matter volume in the left hippocampus and bilateral calcarine cortex and coal mine flood disaster survivors with recent onset PTSD, researchers conducted MRIs on 20 coal mine flood disasters, 10 of them with PTSD and the other 10 without PTSD. They found that survivors with PTSD had significantly decreased gray matter volume and density in their left anterior hippocampus, left parahippocampal gyrus, and bilateral calcarine cortex. Gray matter is the major component of the central nervous system that consists of many cells, synapses, and capillaries. Lastly, in a meta-analysis of structural brain abnormalities in PTSD, researchers examined structural abnormalities of the hippocampus and other brain regions in people with PTSD, people exposed to trauma, and people not exposed to trauma. After the examinations, they found that people with PTSD had significantly smaller hippocampuses and left amygdala volumes. How might this knowledge from research be used? Well, it would definitely be used for good. Knowing what areas of the brain PTSD affects can really help medical professionals treat and assist patients with PTSD. A controversy concerning this topic is that some people in society think PTSD is just a feeling, just a character flaw, or something you can just get over. But it's absolutely not. Based on what we went over in this presentation, it's clear that PTSD is an actual biological illness that has a lot of impact on our brain and requires professional treatment. Before I conclude and talk about the references, here's a quick little quiz question. What are the three brain regions most affected by PTSD? A. Hippocampus, amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. B. Cerebellum, hippocampus, and temporal lobe. Or C. Hippopotamus, amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. I'll give you some time to think about it. And the answer is A. The hippocampus, amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. So the conclusion. What's important to know is that PTSD is a complex biological disorder that has a negative effect on the structure of our brain and how it functions. This knowledge matters because more people need to understand the realities associated with PTSD. It's not a feeling, it's not a character flaw, and it's not something people can get over. Here are my references. I would say they're all credible and should be trusted because I found them through Google Scholar, which is a database that only includes scholarly and credible resources. That is all, and thank you for listening to my presentation.